to a 7-8-3. Big scores escalating throughout the morning. And talk about big scores. This young surfer on screen right now just dropped a hammer in the lineup. And, you know, dropping hammers, well, that's what Jean Defay does all day long. A big heat for the French surfer Jean Defay, a 12.94 heat total. She is with Strider Wasilewski.
Thank you very much, Joanne. Wonderful heat, winning through. Tell me what it's like being out there in the middle, in between sets. What's going on?
Yeah, like I was saying, it's a little tricky, definitely for someone like me also that is not from here. You know, we haven't got so much practice, and when you practice, there's so many people, so you usually position yourself depending on people, and when you're by yourself, it's obviously very different. So it's kind of stressful when there's no waves. You're like, oh my gosh, where should I sit? And at the end of the heat, I was too high at the peak, and then Molly kind of got. Like I lost priority, didn't catch the wave, and then Molly got priority and got a wave. But I got lucky there was more behind, so I could like fight back. But it's definitely tricky. Like every decision is counting.
It seems like your confidence is rising now, though, having the lineup.
Yeah, sure. I think that's how I approach the event. I was like, the more heat I make, the more experience I get, you know, out there by myself and like making my own decisions. So I'm really excited to get another chance.
Well, congratulations. Can't wait to see you on through the next round.
Thanks, Ryder.
Nice to see Jean Defay there, picked up by Team O'Neill, getting sponsorship she deserves. You know, she was actually, she did some crowdfunding. Jeremy Flores actually helped her get herself around the world and back, and she has earned her spot, paid every fan back and some with her performances. If you take a look at the Billabong Pro Pipeline Finals Day bracket, quarterfinals are getting stacked with the who's who of surfing's past, present, and future. Look at this lineup. Quarterfinal 1 in the lineup right now, Malia, Manuel, and Tyler Wright. Quarter 2, Moana Jones-Wong versus Isabella Nichols. Then quarter 3 is going to be two of the nicest humans on the planet doing battle, Karissa Moore versus Brisa Hennessy. That leaves Joanne Defay waiting to see who she will go up against. Either Lakey Peterson or Luana Silva. Both of those surfers are dangerous, so you know that Jean will not take either one of them lightly. 32 minutes for Malia and Tyler, 12.5 for Lakey and Luana Silva.
Well, Lakey's got a commanding lead right now.
Yeah, that big score of the 7.83 paired with a 6, one of the highest heat totals of the day so far.
It's interesting looking at that bracket, you know, and thinking about the top 5 and getting to the finals. Moana, obviously a wild card and someone who could do some damage in this event and win it. She's on the opposite side of the bracket of Karissa. That really helps Karissa. I'm sure she's looking at Moana like, do your thing, you know, and I'll see you in the final.
I would love to
more
see
damage,
that.
the better for me.
I would love to see that matchup in the final.
It's possible. They're sitting on the other side, so that's, you know, Carissa's cheering her on.
That's a surf fan's dream right there. Those two surfers taking the line. We got a lot of surfing to go, and it's still anyone's game. As conditions changing subtly throughout the day, but I'm loving that, you know, the swell is sticking around and the scores are rising. So that tells me that, of course, plenty of waves still out there, and also confidence levels building with each and every heat that hits the lineup.
I mean, you've seen it with every heat. Like, they're getting deeper in the barrel. They're not just getting those little quick pocket rides. They're positioning themselves deeper. They're, you know, you saw was that Lakey that did the double hand grab to stall and stay in the barrel longer. You're seeing longer barrels. You're seeing them take off on the bigger sets. The confidence level is rising right now.
By the numbers, we're getting lucky today, and it's 2-2-22.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And it's 2:22 this afternoon. That's one time in history that will never happen again. 2-2, 22, 20, a lot of twos. But they're all lucky.
That is neat.
A little fun fact there for you.
That reminds me of that Frank DeLima commercial. You know the one? 422-2222.
For a taxi.
For the taxi.
Yep. Local
tutu.
comedian here in Hawaii. Legend. Yeah.
But we've got 10.25 for Lakey and Luana Silva. Right now, Luana is in a combo spot. She needs 13.83, and Lakey does have priority. So you see Lakey, who has been just a fierce warrior throughout her entire surfing career, right now just has the goods. Everything going her way. 3 waves ridden, 2 of them near that excellent range. Malia, Manuel, and Tyler Wright yet to really open things up. They have 30 minutes on the clock. I love these overlapping heats because not only do you get to see these surfers with the ability to do a little bit of homework as they're sitting in the lineup, but also it just gives us more time to watch the best in the world do what they do. All surfers now paddling for something out on the horizon. Takeoff zone has definitely shrank today.
Lakey, again.
Nice, packing it.
Come out.
To your point, Kiala, she just looks fun. She looks freed up.
Yeah, I think a switch turn in Lakey.
Yeah.
And that kind of lead is going to help that for sure.
I was going to say, Chris, I was like, she is cruising right now. And it's a good test for Luana Silva, too, because she's known in my eyes as a good competitor in beach breaks and places like Haleiwa. She surfs good at Sunset, too. So this is a good test for her because, you know, G-Land, Tahiti here, you know, this is a big part of the schedule. So she's going to have to really put in some hours here out at Backdoor and Pipeline to figure this wave out. Because at this point, you know, she's got some work to do. She's a little lost in the lineup. As we see Lakey just pack it. I think she knew she wasn't making it out. She's just having fun.
Grower. That thing just lurched down the line.
Yeah, eyeballing it. Good little bomb turn. Nice, confident pump. Just too deep, but fun ride.
To me, one word that we haven't really mentioned too much is hesitation, and we saw a little bit of hesitancy on day 1 for both sides of the draw, but now we're not really seeing that. A good example would be what Lakey just did right there. Knowing full well that was going to be a closeout, she stood tall. I mean, I always think of Michael Ho, right?
Power pump into it.
Don't show the crowd that you're hesitating and pulling out. Stand up and let her rip.
I keep in mind, you know, an overhead little nuggety wave at Backdoor, you can still hit the bottom really hard. So it's pretty gnarly what these people are doing out here right now. The reef is still there. You know, I know yesterday we're looking at all these crazy waves, but that reef doesn't change.
Yeah. I like that huge closeout that Bethany Hamilton packed in the Backdoor shootout. She stood tall in that thing. And Moana, that one that she got as well, broke her board, just packing it, both hands in the air. Beautiful photo. Photo is worth the broken board, in my opinion. I think it's going to be an iconic photo.
This is a year on the North Shore of Oahu that could fill 1 million magazines with photos. I mean, it just seems like so magical for the better part of the last month.
It's the best January I can remember.
There's a lot of joy on the North Shore right now. Usually it's pretty, you know, there's like anxious energy, you know, and attitude, but it feels very positive and joyful.
When people are surfed out and getting barrels, they're much nicer people.
Content.
It just creates a better vibe.
Surfers are greedy. They constantly need to feed themselves that wave that they want, you know, and so right now, surprisingly, everyone's a little content. A lot of good waves.
Well, in the lineup now, Lakey Peterson's getting all the good waves. A 7.83 and a 6. Luana Silva needs 2 waves of note to advance through this heat. And as the ocean takes a quick breath, we've got the opportunity to catch up with a very special and needed part of our crew. Dr. Spencer Chang is with Strider Wasilewski.
Thanks, guys. Down here with Dr. Spencer Chang. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing awesome. It's awesome to be here. Aloha, Strider.
So what kind of health care can we get down here from Hawaii Pacific Health?
Well, we got a medical tent here. We try to set up to take care of all the pipeline injuries that we can get over here. Most common thing we see is lacerations, but we also have a lot of soft tissue injuries. And so we have a whole allied professional team that can take care of that, whether it's being soft tissue work, massages, your gamut. Yesterday we had a dislocation, so you have a lot of different things going on.
All right, thank you. And behind you, you have your facilities all set up?
Yeah, we do, and we also have an AMR ambulance team. So we got, if you know, really serious things start happening, then we're all ready to go. Plus, Water Patrol, of course, is also there to, you know, take care of any of the athletes who might get in a critical situation.
All right, thank you very much. We're gonna get back to the action.
Okay, take care, buddy.
The crew from Hawaii Pacific Health has been busy. Those are the guys that you don't want them to be busy. You want them hanging out on their phones, doing nothing. But luckily for all of our surfers involved, especially on a day like yesterday and a day like today,
Any day,
which is
any
still
day
very
out there.
dangerous. You know, we literally saw, 45-second wait times. Carlos Munoz, for example, with his shoulder injury, was on a ski on the beach in the medical tent literally within about a minute's time. So when we say we have the best medical crew in the business, we mean it, and that starts on the beach, in the water, and back on the sand. And right there, Malia Manuel jumping off in the danger zone. This is that little pause you have to take no matter what size wave these surfers wipe out on. So she's back out there. You know, the board surfer grabs their board and starts paddling. It's an indication that they're doing good. Sets pulsing through.
Oh, nice little spitter.
4:14 to go for Lakey and Luana. Malia Manuel and Tyler Wright in the quarterfinals. It happened so fast, it's hard. We didn't even really get a chance to celebrate.
I just saw Moana about to paddle out. She must have saw that spitter at Pipeline and just been getting super pumped.
There's still some lefts.
There's still some left.
Kiala, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Okay, so for all the women I've ever seen in my life surfing, especially in big waves, you're the least hesitant surfer I've ever known or seen or watched. Do you have any tips for the future, lady Hawaiian surfers or all, across the globe surfers? And does that come naturally, or can they learn that?
I mean, I think
As far as charging, like
as far as
you're going.
you can't overthink it. It's kind of like if you think about it too much, your natural, like your brain is going to try and preserve life. So you kind of almost have to shut your brain off and just go.
I love that.
Yeah.
You're scaring me just
You're
talking.
amazing.
You're just scaring me just talking about
So
it.
good.
Kiala Kennelly, for example, a testament to why she is one of the baddest to ever do it. Got a text from you a while back. You said, "Check this out, ha ha," and it was a picture of you after your wipeout in Tahiti with a brutal injury. So not only do you scare me in real life, but also over my phone. So I thank you for that.
Yeah,
for
no problem.
Keeping me on my toes. Kiala knows full well the ramifications of surfing big, gnarly waves. but-
Mrs. Send.
Yes,
send it.
the Send Queen.
Bianca Valenti gave me the nickname. Instead of Kiala Kennelly, they call me Kiala Sendley.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
appropriate.
I love it. Lock that in. We'll get that on screen.
Okay, so notes out there for all the young ladies: turn brain off, go surf big waves. Easy.
One other thing, yeah, when I'm paddling for a bomb, I'll tell myself, like, be savage, not average. That's one of my little mottos.
And it rhymes.
These are all notes.
Be savage, not average.
These are all notes that don't really resonate for 99% of us who would never ride the waves that Kiala Kennelly rides.
It's good.
So with 2 minutes to go, Lakey Peterson, that heat total is definitely going to be on the back of mind for the surfers coming up in these next quarterfinal rounds. Moana Jones, Wong, and Isabella Nichols will be up next. Malia Manuel and Tyler Wright still have a lot of time to go in their quarterfinal. So as we project towards the knife end of the women's event here at the Billabong Pro Pipeline, the storylines there for me is a big shakeup in the ratings. If you're looking at the big five, historically speaking, Steph Gilmore, Caroline Marks, the names that you just always expect to be right in those top 5 spots, we've lost a handful of them. So now, Joan DeFay and Karissa Moore, along with Tyler Wright, still flying the flag for the veteran top 5 finishers. But watch out. We saw how Malia Manuel ended her year last year in Mexico on fire. So I think we're going to see some new names go up into that big 5 on the women's tour.
Well, we got a lot of rookies too that probably like that statement. And quick shout out to Stephanie Gilmore too. I'm sure she is hungry and ready for sunset, on the sidelines here with protocols. So she is going to be frothing for the next event.
40 seconds now. It's pretty much all she wrote for Lakey Peterson and Luana Silva. I'm thinking the performer of the day so far is Lakey. That heat total right there backs up that statement. All her big scores happened at backdoor.
Right.
I love that double hand drag.
It's really good for her confidence because this is not her, pet event. And so right now she might be like, you know what? I might flip the script right there, and this is my pet event. So watch out for her with all this confidence.
And how cool is that if you can lock in some results in big, scary waves, then you go to a place, you know, lowers, J-Bay, the rippable waves, and you're going, I already did all the hard work, now it's just time to have some fun.
See, it was reversed for me when I was on tour, you know, like if I had like grovel waves beginning of the year, I was counting on Tabaru, I was counting on Chopu to like bring my ranking up from not doing well on those small waves, which is just my Achilles heel.
Well, we got a lot more to come in Waves of Consequence. I want to thank Keala Sendali for hanging out with us here in the booth, and we'll have more from Keala as this event progresses. We are into the quarterfinals. You're watching the Billabong Pro Pipeline. More action to come. Do not go anywhere. It's on.
The Billabong Pro Pipeline is brought to you by Billabong, the official apparel brand of the Billabong Pro Pipeline. By Shiseido, the official sunscreen of the World Surf League. By Flying Embers, the official hard kombucha of the World Surf League. And by Hydro Flask. Every adventure begins with two simple words. Let's go.
Billabong Pro Pipeline and Tyler Wright out in the water versus Malia Manuel in the priority heat. New surfers entered the water for quarterfinal number 2. Moana Jones-Wong versus Isabella Nichols. And I'm glad that we still have that buoy anchored to the reef after yesterday. We almost lost that buoy. I'm Kai Paguro, joined by the wonderful Rosie Hodge and the North Shore Zone, Makua Kai Rothman. Let's take a look here at Moana Jones-Wong and a nice start to her matchup against Isabella Nichols.
Such a good start, Caps. I know earlier today it was a little bit slow out of the gates for the women. It seems like they're so warmed up now. They know the game plan and they just rolling with that momentum. Tyler Wright, big drop for her. Doesn't quite get under the hood of it though.
Yeah, Rosie, I was over there at the Volcom House talking with Moana earlier and just telling her to surf her game. Take it easy, slow down, and wave selection today is very key.
Yeah, and she'd have the best wave selection out of anyone. Just knowing this reef so intricately, it's just such a big advantage for her.
Yeah, she put in her time out here and just goes to show from the backdoor shootout to today, and you know, she's looking to go all the way to the end.
Yeah, I can see it for sure. I definitely have, you know, just when you see her name in the mixed cups, I was like, okay, wow, here's a real threat to win this competition.
Dangerous wild card and potentially a history-making run. And on the men's side, we saw Johnny Boy Gomes make a run as a trialist all the way to becoming a pipe champion. And the story could continue on the women's side with the talents of someone like Moana Jones-Wong. Scores are in, and the first wave for Moana, a 5.67. That's going to be a keeper and a nice start for the Hawaiian surfer. Lakey Peterson put out an outstanding performance to earn her spot in the quarterfinals. She's with Strider Wasilewski.
Thank you, Kaipo. Lakey, looking really confident out in the lineup. Your headspace is on point.
Yeah, honestly, like, I don't know, last year with the injury and everything, it just gave me a whole new perspective and appreciation for what we do and I get to do. And, that was like the most fun I've had in a heat in a really long time. It felt so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. T
coming out of a couple of those barrels, particularly one that I saw, you actually had not just the gusto to pull in, get barreled, and come out, but to posture at the beach. That was a beautiful moment. Tell me how that felt.
Yeah, I was so stoked. I feel like with this wave, it sort of just comes out of you, whether you like mean to do that or not. If you get a good one, I just kind of was so stoked. And I don't know, I feel like Mike and my husband Tom's on the beach, and they've put so much effort into me. So I was kind of just looking at them and puffed the chest a bit. I was pretty proud of that one. So yeah, I'm stoked, and I think the next round's going to be super fun. Hopefully the swell hangs in there, but I'm having so much fun, and I'm so happy to be back.
Well, it looks like it. We can see it on your face. Congratulations. Hope to see you back here on the glass.
Awesome. Thanks, Strider. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, a nice return to competition for Lakey Peterson after back injury took her out as the last season. Rosie, big deal to come into the quarterfinals again for the women. For someone like Lakey Peterson who wants a quick start to the season, 4,745 points for that quarterfinals berth. That's important, and it's a big jump between a loss in that round of 16.
Totally. I mean, you're looking at a loss in the round of 16 as your throwaway. Going into the quarters just kind of alleviates that pressure. But for Lakey, almost 9 months without competing, she says that she feels like a bit of an underdog, like she's flying under the radar as she heads into this season. We know that she has challenged for a world title, so it's cool to see her freed up.
Yeah. And, you know, looking forward to her progress through here. Lakey Peterson, she's going to be coming up against Joanne DeFay. So that's going to be a great quarterfinal matchup. Makua, JoJo against Lakey, you know, two kind of women that are going to have an opportunity to really stamp their reputation over here at Pipeline.
Oh yeah, Kaipo, two girls that really want it. You could see them, especially in the earlier rounds, really going for it. And it's going to show today who really wants it and who wants to be there at the end.
Again, thank you for tuning in. We are in the quarterfinals for the women. We're going to complete this quarterfinal round today and set up all of the action for an exciting finals day. Surfline telling us that there's more swell on the charts. So we've been enjoying a wonderful Hawaiian season, scratching in. Malia Manuel, double arm drag, and just disappears and gets in the pit for just a sec for Malia Manuel. Isabella Nichols in the non-priority heat, just up and out. So two probably low-scoring rides. Malia Manuel looking for to increase her lead over Tyler Wright right now. It just has a 1-point ride and a 0.83, so still a low scoring affair, Rosie.
Yeah, I mean, for me though, watching Malia throughout the rounds, I feel like there's this feminine flair. And that's what we wanted to see, putting the women's competition out here, watching them at backdoor, watching them at pipeline, just that finesse that they bring to the rides that they're having at the moment. And you can see Malia's confidence growing with every round.
Your thoughts, Makua?
Yeah, well, I could see her confidence growing from earlier in the season. She was out here putting in a lot of time, getting some good rides, and it's going to show that, you know, today she's right in the spot where she wants to be.
And just think about someone like Malia Manuel. The last time that she had a jersey on, she had her best result on the championship tour. Here she goes with a beautiful carve, and illustrating your point, Rosie, is the power that she has and great technique, but also that femininity to her approach.
Yeah, and I love it. I love to see it because I think when you think of surfing, it's a canvas and you really get to put your own creative stamp on it. And I think Malia, I mean, she's probably going to think to herself, this is my new favorite break, because I feel like she's surfing it so well. She's getting to know it. She's finding a rhythm with the ocean. And that's a special feeling as a surfer when you really tap into somewhere and it feels familiar and comfortable and super fun.
Yeah, she's really powerful, but really elegant and graceful as well.
Yeah.
For surfing.
So that will be Malia's best wave so far in this heat. A 2.8 drops for Manuel. She continues to lead the two-time world champ Tyler Wright in the quarterfinal matchup, quarterfinal number 1. They got 10 minutes and 30 seconds counting down. So plenty of time for Tyler Wright to mount a comeback in this heat. What's at stake is a position in the semifinals, and that's going to be a really sought-after position. In a way, Rosie, although it was the continuation of the Maui Pro last year, in a way, Tyler Wright is the defending champion.
Yeah, I agree with that statement, and obviously a lot of great memories from last year, but also she hasn't had to break a sweat in this event. She's in the quarterfinals. She was in the round one where Steph Gilmore had to pull out. That was a bye. Indy Robinson, unfortunately, pulled out due to injury this morning. So another round of good waves coming to Tyler, but she gets into the quarterfinals without breaking a sweat.
Let's take a look at our quarterfinal brackets at the moment with this initial matchup with Malia, Manuel, and Tyler Wright. So winner of that goes to semifinal number 1. Moana Jones, Isabella Nichols will join that victor. And then as we get to the back half of the quarterfinals, Karissa Moore, Brisa Hennessy, and Joanne DeFay. Quarterfinal number 4, again, to me, Rosie, seems like the most competitive out of these quarterfinal matchups.
Oh, well, watching their round of 16 heats, Joanne DeFay, she overcame Molly Plickham, but that was a lead that changed hands multiple times. Lakey Peterson, I mean, she's going to think about this as one of her pet events, the way that she's clicking in to what Pipe and Backdoor has to offer.
Here comes Karissa Moore getting ready. And McCoy, you've had keen eyes on Pipeline every day, pretty much. And can you talk to us about Karissa Moore's training up to this point and her presence out in the lineup?
Well, she's the queen out there right now. And her preparation and training, it just goes to show in her surfing. Very strong, very calculated. Wave selection is key today, Kaipo. And you've seen Carissa's last heat. I mean, almost every single wave, even though the one that she almost came out of, the kind of half-half one, she's picking the right wave. She's doing what needs to be done to advance. And I think she's really the favorite right now.
I would concur from what I've seen so far. But Rosie, one thing we've known about surfing competition is never expect the obvious.
No. It's just, it's handed to us so many times. I mean, we look at the heat draw from the beginning of the event and you think you can pick a favorite, pick a winner, and then a curveball gets thrown our way, especially out here at Pipe. On the men's side, we've seen last-minute upsets. I mean, yesterday was full of them, but throughout the history of the Pipe event, that's been the theme.
Taking a look at Brisa Hennessy also readying for the paddle out here at Pipeline. Talk a little bit to us about the paddle out, Makua, and the best strategy for that.
Well, Kaipo, it depends on the waves, the direction, and how big the swell is. Usually, on a big pipe day, we have to walk down the beach quite a bit towards off the wall to paddle out because there's so much current. All that water comes to the beach, these massive waves that you see, and it has to go back out somewhere. The only channel there is the pipeline channel. So obviously, you're going to get swept down that way. And there's a famous saying, it's called the walk of shame, is when you jump in the water and you don't make it out, you have to walk all the way back from the lifeguard tower down at Ehukai in front of everyone as they whistle at you. And yeah, it's definitely not something you want to do. But today, it's beautiful and there's a nice easy paddle out and it should make for perfect competition between the women.
Talk about a beautiful day. The scenes here on the North Shore are so picturesque, and we've been blessed, Rosie, with such great weather for the entire waiting period so far.
Yeah, and the whole winter period. But I'd also like to say, I mean, it's almost like this is a different beach compared to what we saw yesterday afternoon and the way that it was heaving. It's so fun to see the different moods of Pipeline, but everyone knows to respect this place. No matter what size, a healthy dose of respect is always needed.
6 minutes, 15 seconds on the countdown. More waves coming through, and Makua, the women, and they're stepping up to a wave of consequence here at Pipeline. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, this is what the whole world wants to see. I really think this is boosting surfing in general. You know, the women coming out here, it's giving the world of surfing a big boost to show that the women can step up and do what they got to do in waves of consequence. That being said, some girls are going to be exposed. You know, some of them we're going to see, you know, they either want it or they don't. But all in all, I think this is very, very good for the sport of surfing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of exposed and some other things that are happening here in addition to competition, Sea Trees and Billabong have had a partnership, and after 3 days, the heat winners' cumulative point totals stand at 560 points. You know what that means? That means 5,600 square feet of watershed all replenished on part of Sea Trees and the whole Vai Vai project over on Maui, replenishing all of that acreage there at the Maliko Gulch. So a great, great job done by Sea Trees. You can learn more at sea-trees.org and how you can support this great effort. So Maliko Gulch, you can go two directions there. You can go north to Jaws, where we're going to have a big wave event, which is the direction that you often go, Makua, or you can go south with the wind down to Kahana and take one of those downwind runs there. So I know you prefer to go north. I like south. Here we go with Tyler Wright, and that is the comeback that she needs right now. A 4.37 to take the lead from Malia Manuel, and that was a well-executed tube ride over at backdoor, hailing down the Red Bull jet ski right now, Rosie.
Yeah, she looks serious. She means business. Like I said, this is the first time that Tyler's had to like kick out of cruise control. Coming up against Malia, this is going to be the score. I think this is going to, you know, take the lead. Smaller wave though, but well read through that barrel. And we've seen these women combo up the maneuver. Joanne DeFay did it to great success early on. Tyler Wright, she's been working on her rail game. Her boards are looking sharp. But yeah, she knows she's got to stop kicking up the ante.
Matchups between Malia Manuel and Tyler Wright. Malia taking 3 of those matchups, Tyler's with 6. So statistically, the stats do favor Tyler Wright, and the stats do prove true for the moment. A 5.17, and Tyler takes that lead from Malia Manuel.
Yeah, Kaipo, she's definitely putting the pedal to the metal. And you're talking about going north or south. She's going towards the west, threading that backdoor barrel. Beautiful ride, and yeah, putting up a nice score right now.
She has taken the lead, and obviously Malia's going to learn that with the beach announcer giving her the info, but that lead isn't out of reach. It wasn't too much of a stretch. It's not going to be too much of a stretch for Malia to take the lead with just under 3 minutes remaining with the priority. The factor is the waves, and I look over my shoulder, see a couple lines.
Well, it is go time for Malia Manuel, and she is going to have to be very careful about her wave selection at the moment. Isabella Nichols in the non-priority heat and finds a little gem. Oh, had to fight for that exit and just gets clipped on the toes on the way out. Close to a completion there, Rosie.
Yeah, really close. You could tell that her body was going one way and the board decided to take it a different direction.
Talk us through this replay.
Threading through that section there, she tried to exit the doggy door. I mean, would it have been more beneficial for her to either stick with the barrel side or maybe made a decision a bit earlier to come out the doggy door?
I think she made a great decision, just, you know, the lip through a little faster than she was thinking. And talking about Isabella Nichols, I haven't really heard of her too much. The last few heats, I know who Isabella Nichols is. She's been putting on a performance out here, Kaipo.
Yeah, she's had a great pro junior career throughout in Australia, and then came onto the scene last year as a rookie on the championship tour. She requalified, didn't have to go to that Challenger Series, and so she is a force to be reckoned with. I was talking earlier with Rosie about she's also a very studied surfer, super intelligent, and still doing some courses online.
Yeah, just really smart competitor and so smooth under pressure. We saw her take the lead from Betty Lou. Betty Lou, the rookie on tour, it was like a buzzer beater moment where she got the wave underneath priority. Big mistake from the rookie. I'm sure it's a lesson that she's going to learn. But Isabella just staying so composed.
To the priority heat at the moment. We're under a minute, and that is go time for Malia Manuel. Again, she has priority. She's out there in the red jersey. 50 seconds to go. Malia just needs a 3-point ride, just a 3-point ride. So I'm really surprised I'm not seeing more urgency right now from Malia Manuel in the lineup. Down to just 35 seconds. Here she is sitting on her board and holding position. Interesting that she's not on the hustle, Rosie.
Yeah, it is interesting, but I think, you know, with positioning out here, you know where to sit. I mean, you can try and go either which way to try and find a wave, but the fact of the matter is there's just certain places where you need to take off here. You might as well drop anchor, wait for that wave.
Yeah, Rosie, that's true. Especially when the waves are on the way down, it's kind of hard. If there's nothing out there, there's nothing out there. We are dealing with Mother Nature. Malia surfed an awesome heat.
Yeah.
Just running out of time right now, Kaipo.
She's going to go down sitting on her board. Unfortunately, the sets are out the back. They're not going to reach the reef in time. Congratulations in the water. And Tyler Wright is our first semi-finalist here at the Billabong Pro Pipeline. We'll be back with more action here at Pipeline, the shores of Ehukai. Stick around. Moana scratching into this one.
I want to get super sick barrels, and that's how I am. Even in a free surf, if I don't catch a sick one, I'm kind of like a little bit bummed.
Whoa, here we go. This could get dangerous.
Here we go. Snuck one under. Backdoor, Isabella Nichols.
Oh, it's so wild. Honestly, it feels like I'm dreaming right now. I just got lucky, I think.
Beautiful day in Hawaii on the North Shore. We're at Pipeline in the quarterfinals for the women at the Billabong Pro Pipeline. Moana, Jones, Wong out through another pipe barrel in beautiful glistening water, and the North Shore local continues her charge in quarterfinal number 2. Kaipo Guerrero, Rosie Hodge, and Makuakai Rothman all with you here.
That was sick. That was really good. And even the turns out on the open face. I mean, it's one thing to know how to thread the barrel and be technically sound on that, but she can also rely on her rail game.
Oh yeah, Rosie, here she is pulling in high and tight, just so confident right now. Throwing this big board around, it's a bigger board for her, throwing it around nicely. I just think she's having fun out there. She's on a roll, and she's looking very, very great.
Yeah, you're right. That board has some length in it, and it's not easy to sometimes lay in that rail on that flatter face. But yeah, she's got great technique all around. She's a solid threat.
One more time in slow motion, Makua.
Yeah, here we go. Arm in the wave, just beautiful stance. You see how her feet are more up on her board, getting that forward, her weight on her front foot, threading that barrel, coming out, and just right into this beautiful turn. Moana Jones is having a blast out there, and it's showing.
Yeah, I feel like Moana has like this agility about her surfing. I mean, a lot of times you can watch the men or you watch different competitors and they feel like they muscle their way through things, but just the way that she can swing in that agility and that ability to read the wave.
Isabella Nichols looking to answer back, but unfortunately that backdoor wave not allowing any potential for scoring, and now she's going to have to scramble to make it back out to the peak. Moana Jones, Wong continues. Dreamy drop, perfect positioning, and that one got away from her.
Well, that was a beautiful wave, Kaipo. She was in such a good position, flying through that barrel. Unfortunately, getting hung up. Here's the champ.
And Karissa Moore opens up her account in the non-priority heat against Brisa Hennessy. So we'll get back to that replay, but Makua, what's the sense of community here on the North Shore getting behind a local girl like Moana Jones Wong?
Oh, you know, everybody wants to see Moana do well. You know, it's the local girl over here. She's charging, she's on a roll. I mean, right here we have the queen of women's surfing, Karissa Moore, up on a beautiful little backhand barrel. You can see it from the water. Beautiful positioning. I mean, everything Karissa does is so beautiful. You know, backside, front side, turns, barrels, and yeah, these girls are definitely putting on a show.
Let's hear from our first semi-finalist. Tyler Wright is with Strider Wazalewski.
Thank you very much, Kaipo. Tyler, awesome making it through that heat. Does the mindset change going into these deeper rounds?
Not really. Like, I think overall we've done a lot of work to be here, and it's kind of time to enjoy all that work. And honestly, no, not too much changes for me. I think it'll be conditional on what the conditions are doing and board size and stuff like that. But mostly, no, it'll just be, the goal's the same.
With Backdoor having some waves right now, how do you feel about the event and how it's moving along?
Yeah, I really like it. It's definitely like slowed down just now. But this morning was good. It was a little tricky this morning. But I think, yeah, I'm not quite sure what they're going to do, but there's waves, so and there's waves on the forecast. So, look, I think I'm just stoked on having an opportunity to be out there and actually catch waves and put yourself in the good and safe position. So.
Well, you've had a couple of walkthrough heats, unfortunate for other surfers, but for you, it was a good time for you to learn the lineup. Do you feel like you've learned more and more every heat?
Yeah, for sure. The more I'm out there, the more I'm taking in. Everything's data, like, for my brain. It's just like noting pins and when, like, wave direction, like swell lines, and then, like, yeah, just you got your lineups and stuff. So it's kind of just every time I'm out there, it's just so much information for my brain. It's amazing. And again, like, it's just, yeah, I feel very, you know, it's been unfortunate that India went down and, you know, Steph was in the COVID protocol. So it's, yeah, it's been an unusual one. It's not something that how I like to win. You know, so I'm wishing them both a fast recovery as well. So yeah, like, and I guess moving forward, yeah, it's just, yeah, it was nice to have a heat. Stressful as though. I was just sitting there. It was getting cold. But it is, you know, Malia. You know, at the end, I was like, that wasn't, you know, it wasn't busy enough for us. Like, Malia goes, she charges, so I think for the kind of caliber of surfers we both are, I would have loved to have seen us on some, you know, backdoor waves, like consistently have a bit of more of a shootouts, but, you know, because she just goes, she's nuts, it's great. And so I'm a little bit that way too.
Well, we love to see you guys charging. Can't wait to see you in the next round. Hopefully we get some more waves for that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
All right, there we go. Two-time world champ Tyler Wright. And as that interview was happening, five-time world champ Karissa Moore did this, Rosie.
Oh, locking in on her backhand, just so well read to get into that top third so that it gave her the push out of the barrel, because it did clamp. She needed that extra speed to make it out.
Water angle, Makua.
Well, look at her direction. She knows where she is in the barrel. She knows where she needs to go. Take that little bit of a high line to bust through that little clamping session, making a perfect ride.
Yeah, there you go. Let's look at the matchup history between Karissa Moore and Brisa Hennessy from our deep stats powered by Hydro Flask. 2 wins for Karissa Moore, 1 win for Brisa Hennessy. The 2 wins for Karissa Moore happened in Narrabeen in 2021 and Margaret River in 2019. Brisa got the best of Karissa Moore at the 2019 Bali, Corona Bali Protected. So fairly evenly matched in their one-on-one matchups, Rosie.
Yeah, and the time that Brisa got one over Karissa Moore, that was the most impressive one. That heat total for Brisa was over 15 points. So 2, you know, pretty much in the excellent range there for Brisa. She has been putting time out in this lineup. She's one of the women, the young woman, heard that pipeline was on the schedule, and she's dedicated to learning this wave. Been impressed with her throughout the rounds, so I think this is a good heat. Carissa's had good waves, but I think Brisa, when she gets a start, it's going to be good.
Yeah, she's definitely been putting in her time out here. I was actually in the gym with her at Kahea Hearts, and she's fired up. And you can tell by her performances out here, she's really been picking some nice waves. She's yet to open her campaign in this heat, but here we go with Isabella Nichols up and riding.
Isabella Nichols threading the needle there in the barrel at backdoor and hacking one off the top. Impressive turn to finish off that ride.
That was a sick little statement on that wave.
And you can see how shallow it is with Isabella just standing on the reef. Here's a replay, Makua.
Yeah, just up, hand in the wave, slowing down, shaving off some speed, and comes out and just absolutely hammers this lip, Rosie. That was a very impressive turn.
Such an impressive turn. And if you're going to create a point of difference, I think this is where it can come into play for Isabella. She doesn't get particularly barreled, but takes it out on the next section. I always love seeing what competitors are going to ride as she just lays that rail down. But that rounded pin, Glen Pang, that's under her feet, it's cool to see her leaning on a local shaper and getting a quiver of boards that are made specifically for these waves and that are in Hawaii.
Yeah, well, that being said, Rosie, when the waves are smaller like this and you don't get as barreled, that turn at the end of her wave can make the difference in her scoring potential, maybe advancing her through this round.
Yeah, that was, I'm going to go out and say that was one of the better turns that I've seen performed out here so far. I know Joanne's gone to turns, Tyler too, but that was a solid whack of the lip.
She got a 2.77 for that wave. Isabella Nichols, she has improved her scoreline. Nichols now needs an 8.57 to take the lead off of Moana Jones, as we see Nichols on the paddle back out. And we have had talk about Moana Jones, Wong, as really a contender for a title here as a wild card, because she's been in such great form. We haven't seen a wild card come in and win a women's event since 2010, and that was Tyler Wright at Sunset Beach. So it's been a long time since that feat has been accomplished. But to me, Makua, the platter's offered right now to Moana Jones if she continues just doing what she's doing.
And there's something I've been noticing about Moana. You've been seeing a lot of the big scores coming at backdoor. Moana has been able to find those lefts, produce scores on the lefts, and she's really in the position that if she gets one of those backdoor waves, I think it's going to go into the excellent range. If not, she's going to stick to her guns and really hunt those lefts down, and it's really treating her well.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a strength like your forehand at pipe, but then also if it gets offered to you, a little backdoor nugget comes her way. Like you said, she's deep on that peak that she can swing backdoor that long section and really turn the screws on Isabella. I mean, that turn from Isabella, she got about a 2-point ride. I think it was also a bit of frustration starting to bubble up.
Well, we're enjoying today's visions, and locally in Hawaii, we're enjoying the broadcast at Spectrum and Spectrum Surf Channel on Channel 20 and 1020 in high definition. Thank you to Greg Fujimoto and the whole crew there at Spectrum Surf. Isabella Nichols gaining some momentum in the back door barrel and finds the doggy door. And now Isabella has answered to the challenge presented by this lady here, Moana Jones Wong, finds a barrel of her own at Pipeline. So incredible rally there between the two surfers. We're going to be waiting for some numbers, and the plot thickens here in quarterfinal number 2.
I can't wait to watch those two waves back to back. Isabella Nichols, like Lakey said, it's a natural reaction when you come out of the barrel and the arms just go straight up, because she escaped out the doggy door just in time, escaped the guillotine, but Moana answering back.
I don't know if you guys seen, but Brisa Hennessy was on an absolute screamer at backdoor. Had she come out of this one right here, I mean, look at this, setting up perfectly, coming through that section, unfortunately getting hung up on that foam ball. Had she come over that, I think we would have seen the highest score of the day.
Yeah, that was insane, but Moana, this is the answer back to Isabella. Did she get deep enough to extend her score line?
Wow, and let's take a look from the water angle at Moana Jones Wong. Graceful in the barrel and well executed, great style.
I love the way that she kind of like extended that bottom turn before hooking under it. Like just that timing, it's so premeditated. But this from Isabella, I mean, this answer back was so good. That was, you know, one of the best waves of the heat. So
wow. So as we go through these replays and we flash back to live action, the numbers are in for Isabella Nichols, a 7.67, and she is in the running. We're still waiting for the score for Moana Jones Wong to really set the situation, but at the moment, if Moana does not improve her score line, Isabella Nichols will need a 3.67 to take the lead, and that is the fact right now. Isabella Nichols put herself, Rosie, right back in the running.
Yeah, she's done such a great job. Now it's all about these last 5 minutes remaining. Moana, she has priority, but Isabella's played the game so well underneath priority. She's found those little nuggets that kind of slip underneath everyone out the back.
Wow. And Makua, you know, to really hold on to your priority and try to do a block, 4.5 minutes is a long time. And getting away is Isabella Nichols back in the barrel. That one's going to clamp on top of her, and she's not going to get that 3.67. But I like the effort to escape the priority of Moana Jones-Wong. Paddle for Karissa Moore. That would be a priority error for the 5-time world champ. We're going to switch over priority. Well, waiting for the priority call. Hold your horses, because Brissa Hennessy may have been paddling for that wave as well.
Well, you've seen there, Kaipo, that's a classic example of, you know, two surfers paddling for the same wave, so we're yet to see how that plays into the priority situation and what the priority judges are going to do.
There we go. It did flip, so priority error for Karissa Moore. Priority goes to Brissa Hennessy. Let's take a look at it.
This is why you see Karissa, she's making an exerted effort for that wave. She pulls back, effectively holding Brissa off that wave, so that priority changes.
Yeah, definitely a mistake. Not many mistakes made by this woman, Karissa Moore. She is on point. And that, you know, going to the other heat, Moana and Isabella. Moana has priority now. She has to surf this heat smart. She can pick any wave that comes into the lineup in the next 3.5 minutes. She needs to get another score, I think, to put more pressure on Isabella, because Isabella can come back at any time and drop a big number.
Isabella Nichols on the paddle back out, and you can see the fierce determination in the young Australian surfer, knowing that she just needs under a 4-point ride, Rosie, to turn the heat.
Sometimes out here that might as well be an 8 cups. It's really hard to find. It's hard. It's a really tricky score to find in this lineup at the moment. I mean, you're either going to get a really good barrel and come out and get within that 5-6 range, or you're going to do a couple turns, but even her last big turn was under what she required. So it's a tricky place to be for Isabella, especially with Moana holding on to that priority.
Well, with waves hitting the reef here at Pipeline, it's going to be decision time for Moana Jones-Wong in the priority heat, holding position as we fly above and see the pristine conditions that have continued throughout the day here. Taking a look, and none of our 4 surfers interested in these waves. Makua, what do you see coming through right now?
There's a few bumps out the back. What I see coming through is we're going to see the IQ of Moana Jones's, you know, competitive ability right now. Does she sit on Isabella? Does she go and find another wave? We're yet to see, and this young woman has really been putting on a performance, and I believe she got what it takes to hang on.
So Moana, with priority, identified that that wave was not worth chasing down, with Isabella Nichols making an effort towards that. And really, Rosie, Moana's going to have to really keep her head on a swivel at this point and really keep track of where Isabella is in the lineup.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just such a tricky place to be. There are waves on the way. There's multiple waves in a set. So it's all about closing out this last minute and 15 seconds. It can be so tricky. Here we go. Isabella on the move. Moana shadowing her behind. I think as we get to this last minute remaining, Moana can really try and utilize that priority. So I don't think we're going to see 2 waves ridden.
Yeah, this is where it all comes down to, this last 1 minute, and wave selection, I think, is going to be very, very key here, Kaipo.
Now remember, in Isabella's previous matchup, she was able to escape the priority of Betty Lou Sakura Johnson, and Isabella pulling in that one, and that one just closes out. So that's fortunate for Moana Jones-Wong, but she did let her guard down for a second. Karissa Moore finds the peak, pulls in under, travels for a bit, but that wave just compresses on top of the 5-time world champ. In the priority heat, we have just 20 seconds remaining, and things are starting to look bright for Moana Jones-Wong. and a berth into the semifinals, Rosie.
I'm just like wiping sweat off my brow for Moana because she let Isabella go, and that was scary. That was really scary to let her have an opportunity, but yeah, she's counting this one down, smile on her face, semifinals.
Well, we got semifinal number 1 all set. Moana Jones Wong with 11.34 victory over Isabella Nichols. The characters for semifinal number 2 discovered when we return. Back at Pipeline, and if you like surfing, support those companies because they support surfing and they make this all possible. Thank you to Billabong for putting on this Billabong Pro Pipeline. Quarterfinal number 4 is in the water in the non-priority heat. Joanne DeFay versus Lakey Peterson. I'm Kai Paguro, joined by Rosie Hodge and Makua Kai Rothman, talking you through all of the action this afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Wow, this quarterfinal number 4 is going to be an interesting one, Rosie, because I think both of these surfers are very evenly matched.
I like that. I like that. Just the fact that both of these women have been so competitive with each other in the past in the head-to-head matchups, what we've seen throughout their history and their careers, and now watching them take on this historic event.
And a completed ride, Carissa Hennessy, she's challenged in the priority heat against Karissa Moore. She's trailing Moore and needs a 5.5 to turn the table on Karissa Moore. As we see the Red Bull jet skis zooming into action, and they're coming up from underwater. That's Joanne DeFay in her opener against Lakey Peterson. Here's what happened.
Joanne trying to get to her feet. Does well to negotiate that, but that's where it spells trouble for her, just going over, back on those heels, and then she gets mowed down by that wave.
Yeah, I think that's why they call it backdoor. She was on where she took off was a lot more difficult than if you take off behind the peak, and that's why I call it backdoor. You want to come from behind with the crest of the wave breaking in front of you to thread through that barrel. If you're dropping in on that peak, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be having an airdrop. Your fins are going to disengage, and just goes to show you right there. She caught an outside rail and wasn't able to complete that ride.
Well, we got a happy local wild card because she's in the semifinals. Moana Jones Wong with Strider Wazalewski.
Thanks, Kaipo. Yeah, definitely a happy young lady here. Moana, the faithful left for you at Pipeline. You just went out the back, sat there, and waited for those nuggets.
I wasn't planning on doing that at all. I thought I was only going to go right. And then I went out there and Pipeline just gave me waves. I was like, oh, this is nice.
I feel like you do have a relationship with the wave.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that.
Having that relationship, sitting out the back, waiting for those waves, you did have stiff competition. Isabella is no slouch, and she was charging into those right-handers. You had to paddle her strategically deep on that last set.
My strategical surfing is not that bad, actually. I haven't done contests in years, so I know Isabella can definitely pack barrels and get sick ones, so I was nervous going up against her, and I knew if she had the opportunity, she would for sure get the score.
Well, congratulations, really proud of you, and we can't wait to see you on the next round.
Thank you.
Thank you, Strider. And yeah, that's going to be a really, really good matchup in semifinal number 1. Tyler Wright against Moana Jones-Wong.
That's insane. I mean, for the wild card to already be in the semifinals, that's huge. Tyler Wright, she knows that feeling of being a wild card upset. So let's see those two duke it out.
Laura, you're out in the lineup. How's the conditions look?
Yes, guys, I'm out in the lineup and back here for the rest of the day until the event wraps up. But yeah, those trade winds have just picked up and it's totally groomed the lineup. Just like Moana was saying, she probably thought those pipe waves were done for the day, but there feels like there's more energy coming through. There's just there's still some bombs coming through, and even Karissa before, I thought she would only be looking at the rights, but she's actually been putting herself in position to possibly look left. So, oh, just as we say, take off on a right. Karissa Moore, take it away, guys.
Thank you, Laura, for all the reporting right from the lineup, right from the channel. Glad to have Laura Enever on part of our commentary team. We saw Karissa Moore just up and out, and Joanne DeFay down the line, frothy barrel, goes for it, a very, very shallow section, Makua.
Yeah, Kaipo, right there, it's very shallow. You might even see her stand up on the reef here as she grabs her board. Earlier, we seen one of our other competitors standing up on the reef. And that section at backdoor is no joke. The girls definitely have to be careful pulling into that frothy section because you can't see the reef, you can't tell how shallow it is, and it gets dangerous.
This is more towards that ain't section, right? And she kind of threads it almost all the way down to that off the wall kind of in between. They're those roguing kind of bits of reef that lie just underneath there too, that kind of lie a bit more shallow than maybe what you'd even expect.
Yeah, Rosie, that's more the cheese grater spot down there, and you don't really want to be playing games down there, but you know, nonetheless, she's okay. She's back out there. Hopefully get a better ride.
Yeah, you can almost tell by the way that it kind of reverbs and wobbles underneath her.
Hawaiian Water Patrol and the Red Bull jet ski ushering Joanne DeFay back out into the channel, and that is definitely going to help out with your time constraints in your heat. Laura, you're out in the water. Tell us what you see.
Yes, guys, Joanne powering back into the lineup, but I actually had a question for Makua just about positioning, just as I'm watching the girls move around the lineup today. Obviously, it is a bit smaller. There are pipe waves still, but a lot of backdoor waves. So Makua, like with the positioning, would you stick to just your pipe spot or try to like sit in a perfect little honey sweet spot to go dart either left or right?
Well, today is a day you want to move around. You don't want to get complacent. You don't want to get stuck and drop anchor, as they say, in one spot. There are ain'ts, bowls, waves. There's a few lefts coming in, so you definitely want to stay busy. I don't think in any competition you really want to sit and just wait in one spot. Keep your options open like these women are doing. Move around the lineup, pick off a score, advance on to the next round.
11:30 in the priority heat. Brisa Hennessy trailing Karissa Moore. Hennessy again looking for a mid-range 5.5. But with the scale set today, Rosie, that 5.5 is a fairly large ask.
It is. I mean, we've definitely seen the judges asking more of these women. We've seen a couple rides into the excellent range, but there haven't been many. I think most of the time we're looking at scores in that 2-3 range. And then when you get up into that 5.5 and above zone, you're doing some good work in the barrel.
Agreed. And the judges did tell us prior to competition, because of the expectations are so high from both the men and the women as surfing at Pipeline evolves in competition, that they were going to have, you know, you really had to work harder, do something super impressive, Makua, to get those excellent numbers.
Yeah, the judges did a very good job setting the scale on the women's and on the men's side. I really think in seasons past, people were rewarded a little too much for, you know, not as much commitment. And I think now The WSL is really, really getting behind commitment, maneuverability, positioning, you know, length of ride, length of barrel, you know, coming to the air game, height of air, you know, so all that kind of stuff is going to change. It's going to go to another level. And the competitors really, really have to perform to get those excellent scores, Kaipo.
Yeah, especially the women, where we're seeing probably the steepest progression curve at the moment. I'm saying within probably the last 6 years, Rosie, where women's surfing has the progression has absolutely, from barrel riding to carving and even to airs. The new young generation that I'm seeing, especially working out in wave pools, and some of the teenagers, the clips that I'm seeing, so impressive.
So impressive. So stoked with the crop of talent that's bubbling up. And, you know, we had Keala Kennelly in here earlier, and it's like, it begs the question, like, you don't often see women out at the pipe lineup, and now you're just seeing this rush of young girls. They know that they're going to be competing out here when they get onto the championship tour. They know they need to sharpen their barrel riding, and waves a consequence. But Keala was saying, sometimes you wouldn't surf pipe because there was no reason to. There wasn't going to be an event there, so why not go somewhere like Khalib or Sunset where it's less crowded and you can actually get a wave?
True. And you could harken back to your competitive years just for that. Here we go. Joanne DeFay, she's going to make this one, and that is a beautiful barrel ride for the surfer from Reunion Island. Paired up against Lakey Peterson. She'll take this wave in rather than risking taking some sets on the head and get ushered back out into the Pipeline channel as we fly above Makua. Look at that bottom here at Pipeline.
Yeah, so you see that kind of dark spot? Looks like puzzle pieces. The wave will actually gurgle there and get a little bit fat. You see where Lakey took off on that wave was a little bit to the west of it. The barrel opened up on a smaller wave. Had that been a little deeper, that wave would have hit that spot, had a few funky sections in it, and probably didn't barrel as good. She had perfect positioning on that wave, Kaipo.
So Lakey Peterson answering back to Joanne DeFay, and it looks like Lakey's opting to paddle back out rather than take the ski ride, or now paddling parallel to shore. I think she's second thought that and will summon the ski at this point. Yeah, there you go. Probably a better call just to get the ski and get that water taxi back out.
Just back to your point, Makua, also, you know, those darker spots in the reef, that's where the deeper water is. And maybe when it hits that shallow section, that's what you need for it to throw and stay open and be hollow. And maybe when it hits that deeper section, is that why it starts to kind of foam out?
Yeah, I think so, Rosie, because that water, that deeper water, gets pushed out of that hole and creates like what we'd call a boil.
Yeah.
So there's a famous spot out here at Pipeline called the boil. And the boil, you want to either take off behind it or right in front of it. You don't really want to run it over. It could change the trajectory of your surfboard, make it cavitate, make your fins catch. So there's a lot of different things you got to watch out here in the lineup. So that's why putting in a lot of time, surfing it, like these women have been doing, is very crucial.
And we have seen that boil kind of bubble around the surface. They almost gravitate towards that and use that as their positioning spot, as well as a couple of trees around on the beach.
Oh yeah, there's definitely the trees that you want to line up with. And you know, I just seen a wave come by there that kind of did what we were talking about. It kind of got funky and a little almondy on that fat spot of the reef.
All right, well, scores are in for Joanne DeFay and Lakey Peterson out of that last exchange. A 4.67 for Joanne DeFay, a 2.5 for Lakey Peterson. Peterson trailing, needing a 3.18. And as we look at the history between these two surfers, Joanne DeFay and Lakey Peterson, we'll get to the history because we got live action here. Brisa Hennessy getting the board back under her feet after a disconnecting late drop, but right there mistimes that lip glide and goes down. Karissa Moore right behind her. Moore at back door and gets the second section, gets the exit, hacks a turn just to put the cherry on top of that, the exclamation point at the end of the sentence. Karissa Moore on fire, and she's going to extend her lead over Brisa Hennessy, Rosie Hodge.
Oh, so insane. So cool to watch Karissa because it's just like we've been saying, that comfort level. Look at her, she's kicking out the back. You know that was a good wave. She's having a bit of self-talk, and it's just a lot of fun watching her technique out of back to the way that she was able to maximize and really pull into that third section. get barreled, that turn, that hack?
Well, we had, look at that, perfect positioning, as deep as you can get. I mean, coming out and just absolutely hammering this lip. Karissa Moore, so graceful, style and speed. I mean, we had Shane backdooring. Now we got Moore at backdoor.
In slow-mo, you can really appreciate the technicality, Rosie.
Yeah, the way that she really leans on that back foot, actually takes off and puts her body in towards the wall of water to pull herself towards that wave and under the hood. So just threading through that whole section, speed management was so important on that wave.
And husband Luke and coach Love Hodel, they approve of what they saw. Here's Brisa Hennessy.
Hey, Brisa's technique, that was awesome, the way that she handled that wave. And even going for broke on that section, that is so tricky, so dangerous. Wave didn't just throw over, though.
Well, we're still waiting for that score for Karissa, and I believe it should be an excellent score. We'll see what the judges think on that score, and it does go excellent, an 8.33 for Karissa Moore, and now Brisa Hennessy is in a combination position in this heat. Karissa Moore on the paddle back out, feeling good about her performance.
Yeah, Kaipo, she's really performing right now. I mean, her wave selection, you know, she's doing some things Kelly Slater-ish right now, getting those waves in the crucial moments of the heat, really putting pressure on Brisa Hennessy. And, you know, this is her contest to either take home or give away.
Yeah, you can see Karissa, her aperture start to widen as she sees the bigger picture and how this performance is going to set her up for the rest of the event.
Laura, what are you thinking?
Yes, guys, we're just around on the jet ski to park up. Nice looking wave coming through. Carissa's going to have another go, or she's sold it to Brisa. So Brisa taking off, dropping in, getting in the barrel. Nice. I think what I was going to say before we were before that set, but just the difference between the girls' competitiveness in this round compared to the last. I think in the round of 16, the girls were out, you know, feeling out the lineup when it was obviously.
All right, so we got a little out of range as Laura Never was in the backdoor area right there, a little bit out of our service range. We'll get back to Laura, but we are going to have to pay off that 8.33 again for Karissa Moore, and she's got Brisa Hennessy up against the ropes in the priority heat. In the non-priority heat, still very competitive between Joanne DeFay and Lakey Peterson, who have a history of competing against each other. Joanne DeFay, Lakey Peterson, as we look at Joanne on the ski on the way back out, their stats powered by Hydro Flask in their matchups against each other. Joanne DeFay with 2 victories, Lakey Peterson with 4. Joanne taking the win in the 2015 US Open and 2014 at Margaret River, while Lakey Peterson came out on top 2018 J-Bay, 2017 Trestles, 2017 on the Gold Coast, and 2015 at Margaret River. So statistically, advantage to Lakey Peterson. Motivationally, Rosie, some fire for Joanne DeFay to get one back.
Yeah, definitely. I think these women have had such a competitive mindset against each other. You mentioned as we're rolling into this round, pretty much the most evenly matched quarterfinal that we have on paper.
Yeah. As far as what we've seen in competition, unfortunate for Brisa Hennessy, but you know what? To start off the year with a quarterfinal placing, Rosie, a quarterfinal is a keeper.
It's a keeper. I mean, as soon as you're breaking into anything that has the word finals in it, you know that you're doing well, right? Like the round of that opening round and then the elimination round, that's definitely where you don't want to be. Even the round of 16, you kind of a non-place result, not great.
That was some of the best analysis I've heard. A keeper has the word, if it has the word finals in it, it's a keeper. That's keeping it super simple. That's why we have Rosie Hodge in here, I'm telling you right now.
I don't want to be Captain Obvious.
Oh, no, that was a great way to say it. All right, well, 40 seconds counting down, and Brisa Hennessy's going to have to get her mind right. And she should be proud of her performance here at Pipeline and prepare for stop number 2 at Sunset.
She's going to be hectic at Sunset, Brisa.
Yeah. Well, Brisa came from an amateur career here in Hawaii, so as an amateur coming through and even a pro junior coming in regionally, we have a ton of events at Sunset, so the kids have an advantage.
Well, she spent a lot of time out there training with Kahea Hart from young.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen Brisa spend, you know, many hours out there. We have 10 seconds left, Kaipo. Let's count us out of this heat.
Yeah, this is going to be it. The gold medalist, 5-time world champ, Karissa Moore. She is on to semifinal number 2. The conclusion of quarterfinal number 4 when we return to the Billabong Pro Pipeline.
Here we go, paddling. It is Joanne DeFay looking back door.
And from, oh my gosh.
That was a sick drop. Did you see that drop?
That was amazing.
Welcome back to the Billabong Pro Pipeline. 1 quarterfinal left to get through and figure out who will be competing for the first ever Billabong Pro Pipeline women's title. Chris Cote here with Ross Williams. We're about 12 o'clock midday here, Hawaiian Standard Time. The beauty levels are rising in the water, as you see right there. It's not as menacing and scary as it's been for the past couple days. It's starting to turn into a day where a normal person like myself can actually get involved out here in the lineup. But for our surfers in the water, you know tensions are running hot. Only 17.5 minutes to go for Joanne DeFay and Lakey Peterson. As it stands now, Joanne DeFay with a 4.67, the highest single wave score of this draw so far. Rainbows, offshore winds, beautiful blue water. Welcome to the North Shore of Oahu. It starts to, when the wave size just drops a little bit, you start to hear Hawaiian gentle music in your head. Yesterday I was hearing heavy metal all day long. Today, I'm starting to hear some slide guitar and feel a little bit more comfortable myself.
I have a feeling the sandbars are calling your name.
Oh yeah.
Here pretty soon. Yeah, it's really pretty today. The weather's been perfect, I feel like, for 2 months now. The waves have been perfect. It's sunny every day. So we are super spoiled here in Hawaii. It has been on fire. We're seeing surfers actually just kind of cruising around like, maybe it's your turn. You know, it's just the froth level has been quenched here in Hawaii.
Yeah, and I think for the surf fans who have made their way to the beach,
I like that airbrush. She said, did you say Matt Bialis' daughter did that?
That's right.
That is sweet.
Yeah, the daughters have been putting time in the airbrush area of Mayhem surfboards.
Some wings.
Pretty cool to see the fans on the beach, but it's Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is. It's just another awesome day here in Hawaii.
Well, you nailed it. It's Wednesday.
Oh, good.
Short day for school. All the Groms are beginning out of school here in a minute.
Nice. Yeah.
Sandbars are toast.
There's a school right across the street, Sunset Beach Elementary. A couple notable names have come from there. John Florence being one of them. As we take a look at the bracket, You want to talk about notable names? Watch out, the semifinals are stacked. Tyler Wright will be going up against Moana, Jones, Wong. Carissa Moore, now waiting to see. Will she be going up against Jean Defay or Lakey Peterson? Got 15 minutes to find that out. I want to say congratulations to all the pundits, the media, the surfers, the fans that said Moana, Jones, Wong is one to watch. Everybody was right. Easy call there.
She makes it look easy too. She's like a shout out to Jerry Lopez. She knows which waves she likes. She always chips in nice and early and scoots right into the channel towards gums. She makes it look easy, but it is not. And she has an amazing eye. She really finds the wave she's looking for. I don't know that she's even gone right yet in this event. She just finds those little pipe nuggets and gets good scores.
I'd love to see it. Love to watch the rise of a wild card. It's a story in the making for sure. 14:20 to go. We got fans from all over the world watching. Got a message from Craig McMorris and the team in Toronto getting ready to call the Winter Olympics. They're getting themselves fired up by watching the Billabong Pro Pipeline. So everybody feeding off each other today. All eyes are on 2 women in the lineup now, and I'd say 2 ladies that have definitely kind of risen to the occasion. Weren't necessarily on everybody's list out here to perform, but Lakey Peterson and Jean Defay have stepped it up, and right now both these 2 surfers are in the driver's seat to potentially take this thing all the way to the end.
Yeah, congratulations to both these women, but for Lakey, I feel like she's found something new. I think she put that helmet on and she felt like a superhero. She's like, I got this. And she's been packing some nice little barrels at backdoor over some very shallow reefs. So I think she's gotten over any little fear that we've noted in the past on tour, and maybe a new page for Lakey.
I think we saw it in her last heat, literally within that 40-minute span. You just saw every wave she took off on comfort level rising, and that's going to it's going to loom large for the next 13 minutes. So Jean Defay has the lead for now. Lakey does have priority, and she needs a 3-1-8 to advance through. Well, speaking of winning waves, Karissa Moore does it yet again, standing by now with Strider Wasilewski.
Thank you, Chris. Once again, she's back on the glass. I love your tube riding, but I have to say, the Hawaiian punch to the lip after you came out of the barrel was amazing. The board looked on point in the lip.
No, thank you so much. This was this Matt Biola's shape was actually in this very last rushed batch before the contest, so I'm glad it worked out. It feels really, really nice under my feet.
And they've made the call. They're going to wait for the bigger, better waves to run the semis and the finals. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a bit of a waiting period left, and I'm excited to see what the rest of the waiting period brings. Hopefully it's not too big.
Now, for you, optimal size for that final day?
4 to 5 foot, and nice conditions like today would be cherry.
Well, congratulations. Great surfing out there. Anything you're going to do to prepare for that final day?
I think, just cruise with my husband and my pups, regroup with my dad. I'm actually just want to say really a big thank you to Love Hodel, who's been working with me this season, and just kind of rest up for the big day.
All right, well, congratulations. Can't wait to see that smile again.
Thank you. Thanks.
Karissa Moore ready for finals day. You just heard it right there. Previous to that interview, SVP Tours and Competition, Jessie Miley Dyer, making the call that we will go on hold after this, and we're going to wait till one of those optimum days down the line. We have the luxury of the rest of the waiting period, so no need to rush things. This will be the last heat of the day, and we're going to shut it down, watch the highlights, get psyched, and get prepared for what is no doubt going to be an epic finals day. I'm seeing red on the Surfline call. I'm seeing words like excellent. I'm seeing purple blobs. It's all happening, and we'll give you all those updates coming up next during the 8:05 post show, the best post show in all of surfing.
Or sports.
Pretty much in anything, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, the forecast looks great. So good call from Jessie Miley Dyer to put it on ice for now. We squeezed all the juice out of this fruit today. I remember when we first got up here this morning at like 7 a.m., there was a wave that broke on second reef, and now we're You know, we're looking at 4-footers at backdoor. It's still really, really nice out there, but we want to see just a little more oomph in these waves. So I like this call.
Agreed. And still plenty of action to come in the final 10 minutes of quarterfinal heat 4. Carissa Hennessy gets a quarterfinal finish. Solid start to her season. Her best result ever on the championship tour. Very excited to see what Carissa Hennessy has in store for us after this event as we make our way over to Sunset Beach, an iconic, historic, I would say heritage surf site, especially for surfing events. Really where it all began. And in the lineup, chippy little paddle there. Looked like Joanne DeFay with second priority. Most likely won't change. There's some urgency in this lineup with Lakey Peterson just needing a 318. She's gonna let Joanne go. It's a frothy one. Joanne pulls in, drives. We saw the nose of her board before the clamp down. Door slammed shut. See her pop up there.
Wow. 3 good waves right here, and the lady is just a little out of position. You see, Joanne was thrown off because she's sort of subjected to like what Lakey's doing and controlling in the lineup as far as positioning, because Lakey had priority. And she was surprised that Lakey didn't go on that first wave of the set. And that's why she raised her hand. She's like, hey, you know, do I get priority? But, you know, Lakey was pretty clever. She didn't actually paddle for the wave. She just looked at it. So Joanne being affected by, you know, the positioning from Lakey.
Well, those intricacies are not missed by our priority judges or our commentator from the front lines, Laura Enever. That was a cool little exchange there.
Yeah, that was super interesting. I think, you know, throughout the day with this peaky, you know, peaky swell, we've seen some of the girls get out of position and they don't want to take off under that peak or be paddling out, turning around and going, which was what Lakey did then. So I think she thought about going, she paddled out, turned, and then realized she was going to most likely be too late or didn't want to have to eject and jump over the falls. So obviously Joanne a bit unimpressed by, you know, not having the priority switch, but you know, I think that was a good call from Lakey. You want to make sure that you're in position, and that's what these girls are learning today. I think I've just been loving how much confidence these girls and how much they've learned today. The girls look like different competitors from this morning, and just seeing Lakey take off one then, it's amazing to see.
Right there with you, Laura. I mean, well, glad we're not right there with you because you almost got lasered by that last wave. Tell us about the energy. Oh, she had to paddle over some heat. So, yes, put the mic away, get out of harm's way. Thank you, Laura Enever, for that breakdown as we see Lakey. And just to kind of reiterate what Laura said and what we've kind of been seeing all day long, precisely speaking about Lakey Peterson, she's vastly improved over the past 3 hours at Pipeline today.
Yeah. I will say though, you know, I'm a little surprised that last 5 minutes there was 2 or 3 really good waves that came through, and Lakey, she fell asleep just a little bit as you live action.
Joanne DeFay, can she come out racing down the line?
Good, nice aggression there. That was a strong wave at backdoor. Yeah, 3 good waves came through. Lakey, she didn't read it as it was coming in, and she was just a little too far in, as Laura was saying. And, you know, she wasn't in the right place to take off on it. But then she burned priority on like a 2-footer. So these last 5 minutes, Lakey would like to have them back. You know, that's not going to cut it for her. You know, Joanne's pretty tough out here, and she's showing more aggression at this point. She's pulling into some heftier waves over the reef. So right now, advantage to Joanne for sure.
Yeah, both these surfers have been showing they appreciate the risk to reward equation. And you know that these next 6 minutes and 15 seconds will not go by without a fight. It's like the legendary Billie Jean King said, champions keep playing till they get it right. So we will see more reps, we will see more attempts, and hopefully glory rides from both of these surfers in the water. Still very close. Lakey just needs a 4.41. That's right there in the middle of what we've been seeing in terms of high and low scores. Highest scores of the day today so far. High 8s. We've seen a couple of those. So they're out there. Now it's just a matter of the waiting game.
So much of surfing backdoor is about reading the wave as it's approaching you. So when these waves are about 50 to 100 feet from you, coming in from the horizon towards you, you have to start positioning. You don't want to get caught off guard, because that can result in being in the wrong spot, being in the apex, getting pitched, being too late, being too far in. You really want to position yourself. And that comes with time in the water, with experience. And sometimes it's pretty tough, you know. So Karissa, she definitely showed, you know, she spent time out here and she got herself in the right zone when she took off. Once you take off, Chris, it's game on. You draw your line and get barreled and enjoy it. But the positioning that happens before the wave hits you is where the money is.
And in a situation like this, the swell slowly decreasing, still obviously pumping out there. But when the time starts winding down, do you start to see surfers maybe edging in towards the beach a little bit and then maybe making mistakes in position, getting a little too rattled by the time?
I don't know that time was a factor. I just think inexperience. You know, Lakey hasn't put a ton of time out here over the years, so she just drifted in a bit. And by the way, it's easy to do. It's subtle, right? The takeoff spot at backdoor is not that big. You know, it's a shallow piece of reef, so once that wall of water hits the reef, it jacks on you. So you better be in the right place.
4 minutes, 17 seconds to go. Lakey Peterson does have priority, and she's been using that quite well. Ross, you mentioned you kind of noticed her controlling the lineup a little bit. She's kind of the dealer on the card table right now. She can, but she knows the cards. She can deal out whatever she wants to Joanne Defay and kind of let her go on waves that she maybe thinks might not be the good ones.
And that's on Joanne, because that 3-wave set that came in about 5 minutes ago, Joanne could have positioned herself and forced the issue with Lakey, but instead she sat on her inside and she also was out of position, so she sort of was gauging off Lakey.
But now Lakey does use priority on a smaller runner. This could grow down the line, setting it up for the tube. Stalling nicely, does fight through the end of that wave. So the doggy door was slammed shut, but she went ahead and kicked it right back open. Interesting little wave there. It was almost just about head high on she took off, and then it grew a couple feet overhead as she went down the line.
Yeah, she surfed it well. She had to needle her way through this little barrel, just a pinner barrel, and then also broke through. So it's not a very critical wave. You know, and it wasn't a clean exit. She didn't get spit out into the channel, but you know, she did well to break through all that. That's not easy to break through that lip line. Even on a smaller wave at backdoor, there's still packs a punch. And she grinded out a score. I'm trying to look her best 2 right now. She's holding on a 2 mid 2-point ride. So I'm sure even if she doesn't get the score, she's gonna make her job a little easier, Chris.
Did you see a 4.42 on that wave when she took off?
Personally, I don't think so, just because I think commitment-wise and like how critical and powerful the waves are, that wave lacked it. But you never know. I mean, she surfed it pretty darn well, but it was just sort of a pinner barrel.
2 minutes, 20 seconds ago. Time is flying by. Judges will be locking in their scores momentarily for Lakey Peterson. That number will basically tell us if she needs to get back out there and grab another one quick, or play defense against Joanne Defay, who now has priority and the lead.
Joanne desperately needs to get rid of that 2.23. If I'm Joanne, I'm thinking for sure she got it. Expect a 4 or 5, and really she needs to look for that score bettering her top 2, which is a pretty easy task right now, 2.23. So whatever score she needs, it's not going to be much if Lakey takes the lead. Nope, still in second.
All right, we're under the 2-minute warning. And it's a movement in the lineup. Urgency, paddling. What is coming towards our surfers? Joanne Defay having a quick look. Just a positional paddle there. She's going to give Lakey the opportunity. Lakey goes to backdoor again, stalling, dragging that arm. That wave was a dud. But she didn't waste her priority on it because she was sitting in that second priority position, so she'll be able to get right back out there with a minute to go.
Good call from Joanne. She let that go. She did not get sold that little wave by Lakey. So Joanne Defay she's been the most aggressive out of these two. She's gotten the bigger waves, and that's been the difference, Chris. And now she just needs to close this heat out, hold on to her priority, sit pretty close to Lakey.
Right there in the apex of the peak. And here we go. You see the pack of 2 tightening up a little bit. As Lakey is just looking for any scrap she can find. 30 seconds left. Joanne Defay is going to activate on her priority. She gets it, fades right, speeding down the line, looking for this wave to bowl out. It doesn't, but that's fine. You get to see another crispy, clean Joanne Defay snap. But watch out now. 15 seconds left. Can she make it out? She does.
Buzzer beater.
Do not crown anybody until after the buzzer blows. Lakey Peterson now making things interesting.
Wow.
Only needing a 3-4-8. There's the horn. All right, judges, it's up to you now.
Get all the replays fired up. So her last score was very similar, 3.43, and that was a small barrel. Joanne basically blocking her. She knew this wave was mushy. She just wanted to block Lakey, and you can't blame her. She didn't know for sure the second wave was going to be better, but it was, Chris. It was a little more drawing off the reef there, better shape, pretty hollow. That's 2 sections. That's an easy score. For sure she's going to get it. Probably north of a 5. So, wow, buzzer beater moment again, Chris, here in this event.
The Peterson pit crew.
Is that Britt?
Britt, Snips. They got to be fired up.
Look like Britt Merrick from Channel Islands. And Snips, her coach. Wow, that's got to feel good.
Even Joanne knows she couldn't do anything but clap. Score comes through. It's enough. Lakey Peterson with the last second buzzer beating wave gets a 5.27. Great sportsmanship right there for these two surfers. That was a fun battle to watch. It kind of had that middle part of that heat was a simmer. It started to boil towards the end, and that's exactly what surf fans want to see is a last second heroic.
As Joanne, you know, was charging in that heat, but she got bit by that little backup score. She had that small backup score, and that was what made the difference. Left the door open for Lakey.
Lakey Peterson is your final semi-finalist. We're gonna wrap all of this up in a nice little bow. Coming up next, the 8:05 post show. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
mortician, I gotta do what I gotta do. That's for my fish, making my things. I gotta do what I gotta do. I pray to God, he never came. I'ma do me, I'ma do me. That's in my blood, I'll never change. That's in my blood, I'll never change. That's in my blood, I'll never change.
After an intense day of surfing, the women are now into the semifinals. This is the official 8:05 post show. It's part of the Billabong Pro Pipeline. Chris Cote with Ross Williams and Rosie Hodge. Okay, now we can relax and get back into the aloha spirit after a lot of business behind us. Look at the edge of my seat. It's worn off. That was a wild day of competition that flew by. Ross, so far, so good. The women have lived up to every expectation and more. What performances by all of our females this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it was pumping. There was a lot of nerves this morning. Then everyone just shook it off. You know, we saw some good tube riding. People were, out there taking advantage of that backdoor section out there. They got better and better throughout the morning. So that was pretty exciting.
It was exciting, and we saw a couple buzzer beater moments. Those are always fun in competition. Vast learning curve for the woman.
Yeah, it's been learned. We're seeing it. The proof is in the pudding. Everyone rising to the occasion, and the heats and the numbers, they tell that same story. Well, speaking of heats and numbers and buzzer beaters, all of that just happened within the last 10 seconds of that last heat. On the upside of that was Lakey Peterson, who is standing by right now with Strider Wasilewski.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, back on the glass, big smiles walking up. What a turn of events right at the last dying seconds of that. It's been that way through this event for the men and the women. Tell me how it felt to find that wave coming over that when you saw Joanne take hers.
Yeah, geez, I don't know. God was looking out for me there today. But Mike had told me, look for that Ainspool section. It's out there, and it's getting slower. And we were kind of over a little further than the main backdoor takeoff. And so I just was looking at my clock. I was like, hey, I have 20 seconds if I have to make her go on this first wave. And so I have a clear area to take off for the next one. And it just worked out. I was in the perfect spot, and it came and felt meant to be. But kudos to Joanne. I love Joanne, and she's such a tough competitor. And yeah, she really brings the best out in myself, and I think everyone. So it's really fun to have a heat with her, and she's gonna have an awesome year.
Well, I mean, you got the wave, but you had to do the work, and you did the work. Where do you click into just combat mode? I mean, what's going through your head when you have that pressure?
I guess it's just sort of for me, it's I don't know, at least you have the chance is how I thought of it. It's I'm in with a shot, and you just got to trust your ability in those moments. And, I've put a lot of work in lately, and I just have faith that it's going to work out. And if it didn't, then maybe that's just not meant to be. But I think you just have to believe in yourself and trust in the journey and the process. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And it worked out for me today. I was stoked.
Well, unbelievable in warrior mode with the helmet on. Congratulations. Hope to see you back over here on the glass.
Awesome. Thanks, Strider. Thanks, everyone at home, my family. Love all you guys. Cheers.
Lakey Peterson right there saying she just clicked into warrior mode. And that was kind of the what we saw all day, the trend of surfers once again rising up to the occasion. It reminds me of the Ghostfaced album, Supreme Clientele, because the who's who women surfers at Pipeline definitely competing at a high level today. And it's right. I mean, we have all those names that we expected to see here in the semifinals, starting with a stellar heat from two warriors in the business. Talking about Moana and Bella. Moana, Jones, Wong, and Isabella Nichols went out there earlier today in quarterfinal heat 2 and did battle.
Yeah, Moana, everyone's favorite here, local girl at Pipe, and she has really solid strategy. She goes out there, she looks for that left that she likes. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but I don't think she's gone right yet in this event. Why would you? Because she keeps clocking scores.
Yeah, she's ultra comfortable at Pipe. She did try and go a little backdoor wave, and you saw she just kind of clicked back into the Pipe where she's the most comfortable. I'm sure she'd have a good old dig at backdoor, but definitely just picking off the pick of the litter.
And Isabella Nichols right there answering a lot of questions. I mean, we all had questions for all the women competing today. This is the first ever full championship tour event at Pipeline. So it was really fun to see what everybody brought. I love this number next to Isabella's name, a 767. Right there, that's a win by itself.
Yeah, that was huge. Isabella played such a smart game under priority all day long. And yeah, she just needed about a 3-point ride at the end there, and it didn't come her way. But she was definitely looking in with a shot.
And that's the difference, right? The wave from Isabella was critical. It was a gnarly, steep wave over more shallow reef, and that's when those scores start to elevate. That's cool. I didn't see Moana's wave that she went right. That's cool to see that she does have a look that direction. But yeah, again, I'm just really impressed with Moana because she doesn't steer away from her strength, and she's going to be tough to beat because, you know, she just knows her game plan, and she's got so much time out here in the water.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun to watch what she does in the semifinals, where with so much attention on Moana and, of course, Karissa Moore, anytime she serves, wherever she is in the world, it's almost like you forgot about some of the other names that are absolute threats out here. Two of those names that we were all remembering quickly that are able to take a win anywhere they serve, Malia Manuel, Tyler Wright, one of the heats of the event. Just transpired this morning. This one, as we saw it starting to load up on paper, got us all fired up.
Yeah, this one was exciting. I mean, Malia's just had this feminine finesse throughout the round. She's given us some of the best performances. This one against Tyler Wright, this is the first time Tyler's actually had to kick it out of neutral in this event so far. But Malia, you know, she had moments of brilliance in this heat. She just didn't find those open, cavernous waves to get the bigger scores.
Yeah, Tyler, you know, she reads this reef well. She serves backdoor quite a bit over the years, and it's showing. And that's really the difference between Karissa, between Moana, and some of these standouts here on this piece of reef, is how to size up the right waves. The waves that are a little more critical and hollow, that makes all the difference out here.
So Tyler Wright there did get the edge. Pretty close heat. Unfortunately for Malia Manuel, that was her lowest scoring heat of the event. You know, we saw that rise all the way into the quarterfinals, which was really fun to watch. But Malia Manuel, again, you know, we know how good she is at Sunset Beach, so that will be a fun story to follow. And then we saw two of the best. Karissa Moore in all her glory, in that yellow jersey, just glowing in and out of the water. And you can tell that all the time she's put out here is paying off, but she did not have an easy fight on her hands.
No, Brisa's such a worthy opponent. Brisa's been one of the women that have really got the call up when they see this event on the schedule that they've got to spend more time out there. But Karissa just locking in like she does.
I was so impressed in this heat. She got a couple super deep barrels so far, and today, if you think about her highlight reel from today, she was definitely, you know, setting the bar. She was really deep in a barrel. That one where she held her face after, I was like, whoa, that was proper deep, where she did that big pump into the barrel. So, you know, we've been talking about Moana and how smooth she is, but Karissa, she's dialed in. She's getting some deep barrels.
Uncontrollable stoke. That's what we like to see out here at Pipeline. And take a look at your final bracket. And semifinals set up to be epic. Tyler Wright going up against Moana, Jones Wong, Karissa Moore will meet Lakey Peterson. Let's get some picks. Why not?
Wow.
One pick each, real quick. Who are we going to see in the finals, Rosie?
Wow, you've put me on the spot.
Just
you know
like
what?
that.
Well, do
Just
you know
threw it
what?
at you.
When I did my final five pick for the WSL, I said it was going to be a Karissa Moana final. So should I just stick with that? I mean, Tyler Wright, though, it's going to be, you know, whoever gets over that one, obviously. But
We already have that on paper, so we're just stick with that. What about you, Ross?
I think, you know, this is ideal for Karissa that Moana's on the other side of the draw, because Moana's doing her thing. She's really consistent. She's super hard to beat. Karissa, as I said, I think she's setting the bar. She's been putting down the best scores and the best surfing. I think Karissa's going to end up winning this event just because she has talent like Moana, but she's also really savvy. She's really consistently catching waves. She's reading the waves on the reef really well. She goes right and left. So I think Karissa will get it, but I agree with you. I think Moana's going to meet her in the final, especially if we see sort of a sizey day to finish up in.
Well, that's going to be fun to watch. Goofy versus regular, Hawaiian versus Hawaiian, you know, veteran versus wild card. It could all come together, but we will see what happens. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back. Your top five and everything else. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the 8:05 post-show party from the Billabong Pro Pipeline. The day belonged to the women, and they made the show awesome. We saw joy, victory, intense competition, and just amazing surfing all around. And I like that we now get to kind of focus on some of the post-wave stoke moments. I am not mad at a claim or two here at Pipeline and Backdoor.
Most of these seem like a natural reaction to what's happening. That one from Isabella, I mean, that was just a physical reaction.
Yeah, no sales claims, right? These are all pure
that was
claims.
a reflex.
Yeah.
That was what we talked about yesterday when we did this with the men's, and it was the same thing. It's fun to watch natural claims because they're just like, okay, I cheated death, I got a big score, I won the heat. Yes.
Yeah. You got the soccer flop claims when you need a 4 or something. Yeah, I did it. All of those claims, totally pure, like Rosie says, and we love to see it, and we will see more. Speaking of that, I'm very excited to show you all what we're about to see for the next couple of days here, the Surfline forecast. When it goes red, fasten your seatbelts. Things are about to escalate, Ross. Tomorrow, Thursday, Port of Fair. Well, that's a nice way of saying normal people can probably surf on the North Shore. Day after tomorrow, put your board in the garage if you're a noob.
With your lead up, I thought we were going back into Cote's hip hop quotes, but you can see it right here. Friday and Saturday, red. Rosie, excellent. That's kind of unique. You don't see that color and that word very often from Surfline, so we're expecting some really good surf. It is on that borderline where we're going to see a lot of second reef waves. It's a pretty hefty swell, but all the surfers are looking at that forecast too, and they're like, do I have my 7-0 ready? Yeah. Like, there's a lot of nerves bubbling right now.
Yeah, party on, excellent. But it is scary. I mean, the 2 days that we've seen the contest hit the lineup for the men especially, that was daunting. I mean, even John, he was saying that was getting a little bit too big from his perfect picture of Pipeline. But yeah, I think the women, semifinals, final on deck, and then the men quarterfinals onwards. So we can kind of cherry pick those couple of days.
Well, this train's a rolling, and it ain't slowing down anytime soon. We will give you that call officially tomorrow morning. But before we wrap up the show, we're going into the top 5. Now, this is where we really elevate the fun factor because we get to look back at our favorite moments of the day, starting with number 5, talking about Tyler Wright, full commitment. Wow. Wasn't a long barrel, but that drop right there was everything.
It's like another day.
I know.
It's a lot of size.
Yeah, Tyler Wright. I mean, think about Tyler. She won the completion of the Maui Pro out here. Her brother Owen, Mikey Wright, they both absolutely charged. So she's got great people in her corner. She's got Bam that she's working with, Pico Bacalso, so that's paying off.
She didn't move all the way through, but she did make a statement. Isabella Nichols, a 7.67, one of the highest single wave totals of the day, and easily put one of the 2 brides of the event.
Yeah, I like that. That's crafty, that side door. She surfed it well. She's got kind of a narrow stance, a little bit back on her board, but she wiggled around nicely in that barrel. Nice claim, too.
Very cool, and all eyes of the international media and surf fans have been calling her the queen of Pipeline. Moana, Jones, Wong, and guess what? She's living up to those expectations and more.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch this wild card because Moana, I mean, she says, hey, I haven't surfed heats in so long. Obviously, she won through on the HRC Pro, but she is just picking up so quickly. She's so competitive. She knows this wave so well. And even her rail game isn't lacking when she throws around that bigger board.
Moana means business. And if you want to make that t-shirt out there, just give me one of them. I won't charge you anything for that awesome slogan. Well, speaking of meaning business, Lakey Peterson. Ross, you've been saying it all week long, learning on the fly. Well, she's learned it and more. Right there, Lakey Peterson, a statement victory, a last-second buzzer beater over Joanne DeFay. Lakey Peterson has arrived at Backdoor Pipeline.
Late drop, pulls in super deep, gets spit out right there, and this claim is funny. It's like 2 for 1. She's like, what? Did you see that? Peace sign.
And whenever Karissa Moore enters the lineup, 9s more often than not follow. Karissa Moore, backdoor, hello.
Yeah, she really had to use that forward momentum with that upper half of her body to thrust through this wave. Long section, depth in the barrel. Clearly an event favorite just by the way that she's surfing throughout the event.
Any event favorite, but especially here with what she just did right there. The highest single wave score of the women's draw. And of course, it's Karissa Moore. What do you see in the future for Karissa Moore? Not just now, but throughout the rest of the season.
Big wins. I mean, can she get that 6th world title? Last year, she made it look easy. I don't know. Ross?
Yeah, I think, you know, for her, it's all about her will to keep competing and get back on the road. And I think she's in a really good place. She seems hungry. She seems, you know, when you win so many world titles, I'm imagining that's the biggest struggle is like, do I want to keep doing this again? And I think she does. So look out, because she is well-rounded. She's good in performance waves like lowers. She's good in shallow reef waves like here at pipe. So she's the complete package. And she could catch up to Stephanie Gilmore. Who knows?
Can't wait to see what happens next. Well, one thing we do know is that all of our surfers are about to be tested at Big Pipeline. Get ready for the show. Until then, here are a couple highlights to get you amped. We'll be back tomorrow morning, the Billabong Pro Pipeline. This is a very, very dangerous wave for experts only. There are still some bombs coming in here at Pipeline. Solid swell pulsing through this morning.
The women's faces had that pipeline beer in them.
Let's kick things off with Malia Manuel, starting right where she left off.
Tyler slots through a back door.
Moana scratching into this one.
I'm going down.
Here we go, Tatiana on her backhand, looking for some vision. Good to see Tati completing those rides.
Molly Pickla, backdoor beauty.
Backdoor, Isabella Nichols threads through there, arms in the air. She thinks she's got the job done. Moore in backdoor, and she's getting some more.
I use the pain that you gave me. Remember the tears that I cried. If you think you wanna come back, bring it 'cause I'm ready to go.
Ooh, stalling.
Lakey.
Nice.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.